Welcome to News Today with Universal Parks News Today. I'm Tom Corliss. Here now the news for February 27, 2023. After more than a year and a half of waiting, the brand new No Limit Parade has finally debuted at Universal Studios Japan, and we happen to be at the park for its very first sneak preview. Featuring characters from Super Mario and Pokémon all the way to Minions and Sesame Street, there's something for everyone. You can watch the full video of the new parade right here on our channel, including its show stop. The parade starts off with some very enthusiastic dancers leading the way to the No Limit theme song, and each unit in the parade is themed after a different era of music. First in the lineup is Hello Kitty, representing the 1920s. Hello Kitty and Dear Daniel are accompanied by Flapper Girl dancers. Next up, we skip to the 1960s, featuring the colorful outfits and high boots, fashionable at the time. This one has Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and Lucy headlining it. Moving on to the 1970s, we see plenty of disco minions along with Gru, Lucky, Margot, Edith, and Agnes, keeping it groovy. On to the 1990s, we see lots of hip-hop dancers leading the friends from Sesame Street along. There's Cookie Monster, Elmo, Abby, Zoe, Moppy, which is the character exclusive to Universal Studios Japan, and even a cameo by Oscar the Grouch, all on this float featuring the city skyline and lots of bricks. Sing represents the 2010s with a static prop of Buster Moon along with costume characters of Johnny, Rosita, and Gunter. The real highlights of the parade are the finale units. First up is Mario Kart, led by dancers representing green, red, and blue shells, all on one wheels. Next up is the very first appearance of Yoshi in a costume at any Universal theme park, leading the whirl floats. After, of course, is Princess Peach and Luigi as well. These are the non-articulated versions, unlike the ones you can meet in Super Nintendo World. 8 dancers for each of Bowser's Koopalings are present. There's Larry, Morton, Wendy, Iggy, Roy, Lemmy, and Ludwig, as well as 2 Piranha Plant dancers taking over the middle of the unit. And next we hear the music from Rainbow Road, direct from Super Mario Kart on the SNES. Kids, look it up. Mixed in with the parade soundtrack. It's a Mario Kart from when I was a kid. And Mario sits at the unit's front, followed by a static Bowser, and they race down Rainbow Road together with coins spinning. And finally, the very first appearance of Pokemon in a major theme park rounds out the parade. We start off with Ho-Oh and Lugia, the puppets, which dancers fly around the audience at the front. Next are even more Pokemon with dancers like Grookey, Spinda, Ludrid, Shadow, and Krogunk. Sorry, those, if I mispronounce any of those are from after my time. And finally, we see a costumed Pikachu bursting out of a Pokeball with 2 dancers holding onto a Bulbasaur and a Squirtle. Those are from my time. As well, a giant Charizard tops the unit, while the sides hold Pokemon like Jigglypuff, Scorbunny, Blossom, and Drifloon. And during the show stop, which occurs at 4 points along the parade route, guests are invited to step into the streets of Universal Studios Japan with performers to do the No Limit Dance, which crew members will teach before every performance. The new No Limit Parade runs daily at Universal Studios Japan as of March 1st. Lots of new merchandise and food were developed for the show, which will that'll be coming later this week. So keep your eyes on Universal Parks News Today. Obviously on the website, we'll have coverage of all the special food and merchandise. And we'll also have videos right here on the channel for you to watch. Very exciting. I'm really excited to go next month and see the, or I should say 2 months, April, and go see this. It's been a long wait. To finally see Pokemon in a theme park, that's like a lifelong dream. So I'm very, very excited. It may be February, but Halloween Horror Nights fans know it's not too early for speculation season. And Horror Nights Nightmares has released the first speculation map for Halloween Horror Nights 32 in Universal Studios Florida. The maps are based on current rumors and speculation about Halloween Horror Nights and will change, but they give us a good idea of what we can expect this year and add some excitement to the off-season. The scare zones are currently unknown, but their likely locations are marked on the map in yellow. The only show listed is Nightmare Fuel, which will likely be changed to differentiate it from the last 2 versions, but obviously they're very minor changes between the last 2, but we'll find out more on that later, I'm sure. Here are the houses listed on that speculation map, though. We have Chucky, Universal Studios Monsters, The Phantom, Dracula, The Last of Us, an original Krampus house, an original house with just Anchor, the Horrors of Blumhouse, Megan and Insidious, Lair of the Banshees, which would be original, Devil Dogs, which would be original, a guitar house of some kind, and a Japanese-themed house, which would be original as well. As you can see, there are 5 houses with original stories. Chucky is currently the only one that's been confirmed at this point. It's already been announced. There have been many houses featuring the Universal Studios monsters throughout the past 31 years, and given their place in the Hallows' Eve halls of horror, their inclusion is not a surprise. This also follows the trend of the past few years where there has been a number of classic monster houses. The Phantom, as seen in the concept art you're looking at now, has not been featured since 2019. The Last of Us is an HBO TV series based on a video game that is currently garnering viral popularity. And while not a confirmation, Pedro Pascal, who plays Joel Miller, one of the series' leads, likened the filming experience to an extreme version of Halloween Horror Nights. However, it's worth noting that The Last of Us was also on last year's first speculation map, a good reminder to take the speculation with a grain of salt. Anything can happen, even if they are planned at this time. Krampus was featured before at Halloween Horror Nights 26. That was a house based on the 2015 movie of the same name. This year's house is rumored to be an original concept, drawing inspiration from the Germanic myths. The house, represented by an image of an anchor, is an original concept. Some fans are speculating a return or a sequel to Dead Man's Pier Winter's Wake, but Universal typically does not repeat houses back to back. That being said, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It was a very popular house last year. Universal has done other nautical-themed houses before, with the SS Frightanic at Halloween Horror Nights 8 and Ship of Screams from Halloween Horror Nights 13. And while not primarily nautical in theme, Dead Waters from Halloween Horror Nights 27 featured a sinking riverboat, and 2019's Depths of Fear took place in an underwater mining facility. There have been several houses entitled The Horrors of Blumhouse, all featuring multiple properties in each house. Given that Universal has a 10-year deal with Blumhouse for ownership and distribution of movies, the partnership makes a lot of sense. And as for the latest iteration, an official source behind the Megan Reddit AMA said, "I can't wait to go to Halloween Horror Nights this year." It's also still not a confirmation, but it seems likely that Megan would be involved. It was a very popular film, and a lot of people are talking about it. Insidious has already been featured multiple times with its own house in 2015, as well as being featured in the first Horrors of Blumhouse in 2017. Lair of the Banshees was first an original scare zone at Halloween Horror Nights 26. The house would likely be related to the zone as a prequel or sequel. Universal's done this many times, most recently, example, Dead Man's Wharf becoming Dead Man's Pier Winter Wake. This is not uncommon. Devil Dogs was once was a fictional movie in 2018 Slaughter Cinema, one of my favorite houses of all time, which has inspired other houses after positive fan reactions to it. While none of the movies have directly translated into houses, the Wicked Growth Realm of the Pumpkin was partially inspired by Pumpkin Guts, and the Beast Baby from Cult of the Beast Baby, as well as Swamp Yeti from Revenge of the Swamp Yeti, both made cameo appearances. The plot for the fake movie was they thought they were the biggest, they thought they were the baddest, they thought they were the boldest, they thought they were the tough guys. They were wrong. Devil Dogs. When the full moon rises, this pack rides. So good. A speculated house represented by a guitar and lightning bolt is also listed. It's not marked as an original, creating speculation that the house will be based on the discography of a band. No official clue has been given, but some fans are hopeful that the lightning bolt could mean Metallica, the bolt being a clue for their Ride the Lightning album, or even a Stranger Things Metallica house based on the last season. The house was represented, the final house is represented on the map with Japanese Creatures Original, written in Japanese. There's not much more to go off for this rumored house yet, but given the popularity of Horror Nights at Universal Studios Japan, and how popular Japanese horror has been in America, it seems to make a lot of sense. Of course, all this just rumored at this point, but as theme park fans, it's always fun to talk about what might be coming. One of the entrance structures of Universal Studios Florida has been completely removed as the entire area is updated. New ticket scanners were installed at the park's exit recently, and these are now being used as a temporary entrance. The awning that covered the old ticket scanners is gone. The area remains surrounded by construction walls decorated with movie posters. The walls extend all the way to the guest services building. The area you're looking at now is beyond the iconic Universal Studios Florida entrance archway and ticket windows. The other awning entrance structure remains and is open. The two are separated by a gate, which is sometimes open as an entrance as well. The entrance structures have brown shingle roofs and sandy white columns. Completely new entrance structures may be built at this time. It's unclear. Half of the exit is open and using the new ticket scanners to let guests inside. Last year at Islands of Adventure, they also got new themed entry points. The new scanners at Universal Studios Florida aren't as themed, but match the surrounding architecture of the entrance and exit area. The Betty Boop sign above the silver screen store in Universal Studios Florida has been removed, possibly because the store will become part of the new Illumination Avenue, inspired by Minions. The store is right next to the future entrance to VillainCon Minion Blast. The silver screen snack stand on the other side of it was recently demolished. Though construction walls wrap around the street corner and in front of the store, it remains open. Awnings that previously featured images of the icon and the words Betty Boop have been replaced by solid gray ones. The Betty Boop artwork from the windows has been replaced with a generic blue Universal sign. The final piece to be removed was the small sign over the doorway. A gray spot and hardware remain where the sign featuring Betty Boop previously hung. Here's a better look at what the sign looked like before. Betty Boop would wink and blow a kiss. It's possible the store will be rethemed completely, but it's still unclear at this time. The Hello Kitty store in this area is also being slowly unthemed while it remains open. Right now, this area of the park is called Production Central, but at least part of it will become Illumination Avenue with the opening of VillainCon, Minion Blast, and as well, the Minion Cafe. The inside of the store is still themed to Betty Boop and full of Betty Boop merchandise, at least for now. Of course, at Islands of Adventure, they also have a Betty Boop store, which is set to become the new Universal Orlando Annual Passholder Lounge. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, The Vacationeer, the engineers of your next magical vacation. Sit back and let their team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next magical Disney trip. The best part is, services are free. Visit www.nt.travel for details. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Orlando Resort has a new souvenir butterbeer mug available. It's $37.99. This metal mug is available with frozen or cold butterbeer. It's not eligible for discounted refills, though. It's shaped like plastic transparent mugs that have been previously available with the butterbeer logo on one side. We found it in Hogsmeade at Universal's Islands of Adventure, where it is available at the Hogshead and the butterbeer carts. It'll likely be available at butterbeer locations in Diagon Alley very soon. Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure is now closed for a much-needed refurbishment in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade at Islands of Adventure. Universal has made sure guests don't walk all the way back to the coaster without knowing it's closed. There's an A-frame sign at the entrance of the park and more inside the park stating the ride is not operating today. We spotted 2 more signs in port of entry as well. Construction walls are up in front of the attraction and 2 team members are standing by to direct guests. Signs of the construction walls read, "Notice Magic at Work," and "Your patience is requested," with the Ministry of Magic M at the bottom. The marquee tower above the entrance to Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure has already been painted with a new base coat. The construction walls extend to the lockers nearby as well, which are also closed. Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure is scheduled to reopen on March 6th. Universal has confirmed a report that Jurassic World Velocicoaster would accept Express Pass at Islands of Adventure. It now, in fact, is. Express Pass is a ticket add-on that lets guests skip the standby line once per day per participating attraction. Premier Pass holders have Express access after 4, and Express Passes are given to guests staying at select Universal Orlando Resort hotels as well. It starts at $89.99 per person per day for one-time access to each attraction offering Express. Unlimited Express Passes start at $99.99 per person per day. Express Passes are offered for one park access, but 2 park passes are available at a higher price. They do not include theme park admission. But again, Velocicoaster now has Express. Guests can now purchase Jurassic World-themed boxed water instead of regular bottled water from snack carts at Islands of Adventure. According to Boxed Water is Better, which is branded on all of the boxed water, their boxes use 92% plant-based packaging and are the most renewable package in the water aisle. The packaging is 100% recyclable and refillable, while the water is 100% purified with no added minerals. The Jurassic World-themed water boxes are available at Jurassic Park and Islands of Adventure, as well as the Lost Continent and Seuss Landing. The boxed water is $6, while the bottled water is $5.50. These individual boxes of water are 16.9 ounces or 500 milliliters, and each one features a different dinosaur, as well as the iconic Jurassic Park T-Rex logo. One box features the Mosasaurus, as well there's facts about dinosaurs and their fossils on the side. Of course, the Velociraptor is featured as well. The box shows off a Velociraptor footprint and claw. The boxed water in the Lost Continent featured 3 different dinos, the Triceratops, the T-Rex, and the Stegosaurus. Photographer BioReconstruct has shared more aerial photos of Epic Universe construction. Epic Universe will be a new Universal Orlando Resort theme park scheduled to open in the summer of 2025. So far, the only land officially announced for the park is Super Nintendo World. The other rumored lands are How to Train Your Dragon, Universal's Classic Monsters, and a third Wizarding World of Harry Potter. This aerial photo shows the construction of Epic Universe with the rest of Universal Orlando Resort in the distance. Epic Universe will have its own parking lot instead of guests having to park at the City Walk garages. Kirkman Road is being extended to connect to the resort. The photo you're looking at now shows construction of the extension between Sand Lake Road and Universal Boulevard. This photo shows an overview of the entire park. The in-park hotel will be on the edge of the lake at the top of the photo. The themed lands will be to either side of a central corridor featuring multiple bodies of water. Compared to the concept art, which also has the in-park hotel at the top, assuming that the rumors are true, Super Nintendo World is at the bottom left, Classic Monsters Land to the top left, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at the top right, and How to Train Your Dragon at the bottom right. The dual racing coaster is between Harry Potter and How to Train Your Dragon, but not part of either land. It's just sort of themed to the central area of the park. Significantly more track has been installed for the dual racing coaster since our January update. There are now tall yellow loops. In this straight above photo, the dual racing coaster is at the bottom, while the How to Train Your Dragon coaster, covered in protective tubing, is above. The roller coaster trains will enter these loops from the right side of the photo. More track is yet to be installed on the tall supports to the right of the loops. The track at either end of the building in the center of the photo will eventually be connected. In the photo you're looking at now is where guests will return to the unload station. The track is covered in black protective tubing right now where it enters the unfinished building. The tall hill at the center here is referred to as a top hat hill, meaning the cars go up at approximately a 90-degree angle and then descend the other side at the same angle. The dual racing tracks cross over each other several times immediately after the top hat hill. The higher up view shows the How to Train Your Dragon land to the left and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter to the right, with the dual racing coaster in the center. Guests will reach the coaster from the central corridor at the top of the photo. Here's an overhead look at the entire How to Train Your Dragon land with its coaster and the dual racing coaster at the bottom right. Some of the How to Train Your Dragon coaster is covered for protection, but not all of it. This coaster will cross over a guest walkway and skim bodies of water. The land is, of course, based on the Isle of Berk from the How to Train Your Dragon series. A live-action film is already in development for the series as well. There will be a theater in the land, which is quickly taking shape. Of course, there is a show in the Beijing park, which has had rave reviews, and from what I've heard already, this will be clearly one of the most positively received offerings in the entire park. I know there's some very exciting coasters. I am probably most excited for this show based on what I've seen. For now, there are just 2 concrete walls around the theater and no roof, but the building on the right in the photo is rumored to be a quick service restaurant. Large statues are being constructed near the entrance of How to Train Your Dragon, near the roller coaster track. These mirror statues in the film with horned Viking helmets, swords, and shields. BioReconstruct also points out structures in this area that seem to be the beginnings of ships. A tiered hillside taking shape to the right in this photo will lead up to the land's Great Hall, which may be a restaurant. The hall in the circle with 6 columns near the center of this photo. The building in the background is the service building for the coaster. The rumored Classic Monsters Land will have a slightly smaller coaster than the others, and the track has been installed. As BioReconstruct writes, it's believed to have a launch-in area of the curved track to send riders back through where they came from, before full momentum back to the station. The station resembles a barn, and the land will reportedly also have a village and a mansion. White tubes cover some of the track to protect it from future construction. The coaster is thought to be a spinning one, too. The gray building is a restaurant in the central corridor. It has 2 rounded awnings at the front. The concept art shows dome structures down the center of the park. Circular foundations have already been established for these. One is thought to be a spinner attraction. Short concrete walls create the curve of the future in-park hotel, which will face a fountain, just a concrete circle right now. The new Wizarding World of Harry Potter will be inspired by the Parisian version of Diagon Alley, Place Cachée, seen in Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. An alley surrounded by tall buildings is already clear. The arrow in the photo you're looking at now points to a new steel frame for more building facades. This arrow points to a recreation of Porte Saint-Denis, an arched gateway built in the late 1300s in Paris. You can read more about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter's expected land in this park on our website. And like Super Nintendo World and Universal Studios Japan and Hollywood, this land will be mostly enclosed. It'll open with the Mario Kart and Yoshi's Adventure rides. The photo shows the main courtyard of Super Nintendo World at the center. The building in the top right is a gift shop in the central corridor of the land. Here's the beginning of the Warp Pipe Tunnel entrance into Super Nintendo World. The yellow track in this photo is for Yoshi's Adventure, a slow-moving ride that will take guests on a scenic look at Super Nintendo World. Colorful weatherproof sheathing has been installed on some of the walls around it. Super Nintendo World will also have a Donkey Kong roller coaster, which is coming soon to the Japan version of the land and is rumored to be called Mine Kart Madness. A curved section of track sticks out of the land with some concrete walls around one side of it. Some of the track is actually fake and will be used to simulate jumping from one track to another, like in Donkey Kong Country. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and much more. Special shout out to all of our WIGS members who make the show possible every week. For more information on these stories and more, head on over to universalparksnewstoday.com. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Universal Parks News Today on YouTube for more great content, and click the bell for notifications. Also, make sure to hit select all notifications so you never miss an episode of our show. For UPNT, this is Tom Corliss saying the future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one.